going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You know who it is by now,
Jimothy.
So ladies and gents, we are back, and I'm not too sure if you've seen the community post, but regardless if you have or have not, I managed to bag second place at locals, and I managed to actually win this. Don't know if you can see it. Via a raffle. Now, it was the Photon Hypernova pre-release event, so there were quite a few locals that were going on today, and I managed to make it to one of them. Now, we weren't playing the draft format at this locals. It was literally just bring your own deck, play locals as normal, and then there was a couple of prizes on the line, so to speak. So I think first place won a mat outright. I won a mat through the raffle. And there was obviously like field centers, OTS pack was given out obviously. So yeah, all in all, very good locals. I had a lot of fun, and the main reason I went is because I wanted to pick up Plunder Patrol ship Yord, because you know how I feel about that deck. But I got second place playing P.U.N.K Kashtira, which is super interesting, especially going into the next format, which is what me and a group of friends were talking about, just kind of like where the format's going to be changing, where it's going to be going. And I'll be honest, just like PHHY Element is still going to be the best deck, or the deck to beat going forwards. I'm not going to say that Kashtira is not going to see any play. It's definitely strong, but it's going to be interesting to see what kind of hybrid deck comes out of like both of those two strategies to kind of like form a coherent strategy. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, ladies and gents, that's enough about me harping on. Let's get straight into the profile. Okay, ladies and gents, straight into the list. Now, if there's one thing you know about me, I do not stick on a deck for a long period of time, just because I value change. And I've also kind of like been playing around with a number of decks, because I'm still trying to find my feet on what deck I really want to play. Now, Plunder Patrol is my favorite deck in the game, and I will potentially be playing that going forward. Just depends on like my build and just how it goes in terms of the new format. So anyway, straight into it. Triple Z Armen, this goes without saying. This is your searcher. This just gets his combos going basically. It's always nice to see. Level 3 tuner, because so many off Italy, say no more. Next up for the 3 ofs, we've got triple Foxy tune. Again, just for consistency, just gets one out of your deck. Yeah, what can I say about this card? Fantastic. As well as the triple Ogre Dance. Again, searches your Foxy tune, searches your Z-Armen. It's a crazy little loop that you get going, and being able to put one of these back on board is nice. For the 2 offs, we run 2 P.U.N.K Dinomorphia. Again, I was playing 3 to start off with, just because I was tired of getting milled by tier elements, but I decided to drop it back down to 2 just to make space for some of the other cards that I got in the deck. Now, if I didn't mention earlier, we did have the opportunity to use some Photon Hypernova cards in our list, just because it was the sneak peek, and I did actually go ahead and do that, but there's none in the main deck. The only cards that I've got from Photon Hypernova are in the side deck, which I'll show you at the end. So carrying on with the 2 ofs, we played 2 Yukio P.U.N.K Sharakusai. I like this card. The reason why I play it at 2 is because I normally try and end on 1 and I have 1 for a follow-up. Just being able to like quick sync on your opponent's turn and go into like Amazing Dragon, not the Amazing Dragon, the level 11 P.U.N.K synchro. I can't remember its name off the top of my head, but yeah, being able to do that and bounce cards is absolutely fantastic. Just yeah, it's nice, as well as triggering a field spell on your opponent's turn. And then we finally end up with 1 P.U.N.K Madam Spider, as well as the 1 Wargun. Now, I did drop Madam Spider excuse me, I did drop Madam Spider initially, but I found out that the imperm trap is actually really useful, just because it allows you to kind of like gain life points as well as negate something, and typically you're negating Kit Kalos. I literally played 3 Telements matches. I got the buy round 1 just because we had an uneven number of people, and then I just played 3 Telements matches. Like everybody was playing Telements, it wasn't even a joke. And just being able to negate Kit Kalos, gain 2300 life points, because you pay so much on your first turn, activating each one of these cards' effect, which is probably what you try to do as you go through your mainline combo. But yeah, definitely a nice little package there, and I will recommend the Madam Spider. Oh, and then the honorary P.U.N.K card, which is the Ghost Ogre. You can search this. I actually love searching this card, especially if you've got your full setup. Hitting the Telements field spell is just a no-brainer, and it makes them play a little bit differently, because they know that you search it at the end of your combo, and you can just pop the field spell when they try and like pop one of your cards. So it's a nice feeling. And that is it for the P.U.N.K monsters. Going on to the next engine, we're obviously playing some bestials. So we played double bestial Magnamut, say no more, as these double Jerusalem. So 2 and 2 again. Like I said, in the side deck I got a couple of other cards, but this was nice just to be able to have an answer to bestials. If you weren't playing, if I wasn't going to play against a obviously a Shizu Tilament deck, then I would just concentrate on siding these guys out. But as it stands, these actually came in clutch, to be honest, especially Magnamut. And then onto the Kashtira. Now I am playing a couple of proxies. So when I say proxies, they're not complete proxies, but basically I'm waiting on my third Kashtira unicorn, and I'm trying to get a hold of 2 more Fenriers. This card in this deck specifically is just hella strong. Like, I think I banished the Rule Kalos as well as the Tilament's Kaleido Heart out my opponent's extra deck by the time it was their turn. So literally he had no place to go into apart from like Kick Kalos and then obviously Dragos Depalia or something like that. But this card just puts in so much work. It searches the spell, which then reborns it, and you can typically go into your Baron de Fleur by summon number 2, depending on what your hand is saying, and then bring this back, which is just absolutely crazy. So very, very powerful card. Fenrir needs no introduction. Like I said, I'm trying to get a hold of another couple of Fenriers. I managed to pull this at the regional, which was crazy. And then I'm playing the other one, Kashtira Ogre. This is just to supplement the cards that are missing. So this is typically another unicorn as well as 2 Fenriers, but I just value going into my level 10 synchro, so I played the 3 extra ogres just in case. I did side this out quite a lot because it's not as impactful as the other one. However, in Photon Hypernova, it could potentially be a little bit stronger just because you don't have to search just a singular trap. You've got other traps that you can go into. So yeah, that was the Kashtira engine. And that is it for the monsters, ladies and gents. Quite a few monsters, might I add, but yeah, it is what it is. Right, onto the spells. We played double P.U.N.K Jam Extreme Session. This card is crazy. Give me the draws, all of the draws. I ain't even playing around. Yeah, being able to draw twice and then obviously draw on your opponent's turn is just absolutely crazy. So you do end up with a lot of cards in hand, and you'll see some of the ratios that I have for some of the other cards in my deck is a little bit associated with how this card functions. Just being able to draw through your deck is just crazy, as after you thinned it a lot, because you obviously get a lot of P.U.N.K monsters out of your deck via their effects, and then being able to draw into them is crazy. So 2 draws per turn as well as a special summon from hand, which is just nice. Then we played Triple Italy, Say No More. This gets all your little P.U.N.K monsters out. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. Just a nice card. Then we played the double triple tactics talent. I do have the third in the side. Again, this just allows you to draw as well. I typically save this for my end of my combo, and depending on how far I've got, depending if I've got stopped or not, I potentially go for the draw, or I could even go for the hand rip. But more times than not, I'm going for the draw because I want to draw into like my bestials or just anything, basically anything that's going to supplement my end board. And then for some spicy one-offs, we play 1 Kashtira Birth, 1 Call by the Grave, and then the 1 Lightning Storm. I do have the other 2 Lightning Storms in the side. I was a little bit hell-bent on just back row removal, just because the locals that I go to, this one specifically, is quite competitive. So having Lightning Storm, it will resolve, because typically everyone's playing the Shizu tier and they always have at least a Soliek in the back row. It doesn't really bode well because you do actually plus your opponent off blowing it up with Lightning Storm, but I needed some form of back row removal, and this seemed to be the best option apart from like Feather Duster and that, which I didn't decide to put into this deck. And that is it for the spells. Now going on to the traps, we played 1 Dangerous Garbu. This is nice, just basically imperm, and then you just gain life points equal to the opponent's monster's original attack if you control a P.U.N.K monster, which was always the case. This is probably what I would use first. Then I would use Sharakusai to bounce a couple of monsters. I had a Baron negate as well as Ghost Ogre in hand. It's just absolutely crazy the interactions this deck puts up, and it's not just hard negations, it's like popping, negating, just loads of stuff, shuffling, bouncing. It's crazy. So yeah, 1 Dangerous Gabu, definitely a nice card. Easy side out target going into games going into game 2 and 3, depending on where you're at. And then for the other trap, I played triple infinite impermanence. Excuse the singular gold rare is what it is. Yeah, couldn't find my other one. Yeah, I've got so many decks, ladies and gents. They're just all over the place, and like sometimes I put cards in them and leave them there, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know where that card's gone. Don't even know where that deck box is, and I have to go through all my decks, and it's just a tiring process. So I play with what I've got basically. But yeah, triple imperm, nothing needs to be said about that. Again, easy side out target. It doesn't really work the best with the field spout if you draw it into it, but well, I say drawing into it if you're drawing it into it on your opponent's turn, but it does play around triple tactics talent, and it is a hard negation basically. Just, well, say hard negate, it's a soft negate basically. So yeah, it's always nice, and people generally do not play around the imperm column, yeah, for the most part. On to the extra deck. Now, starting off with the P.U.N.K monsters, we've got P.U.N.K Jam Dragon Drive. I love this card. This card's nice. Jumps out of your graveyard, adds a level 3 psychic tuner on special summon, not synchro summon, special summon. So yeah, really nice card. I can allow you to trigger your field spell as well. Then we have the Amazing Dragon. This is the one that I just couldn't remember the name for the life of me, as well as the one P.U.N.K Rising Carp. Carp's nice, just gets a couple of monsters. Can actually help your OTK if you play your cards right correctly. Is a level 8. You can use it to go into your Amazing Dragon, but typically what you're using it for is its tribute effect to be able to special summon 2 P.U.N.K monsters from deck. And then obviously your Amazing Dragon is just a bounce, as well as a monster reborn when it rolls back around to your turn. So super duper nice card. Do like it a lot. Yeah, that's typically what you're gonna make. You typically end on P.U.N.K Jam Dragon Drive, as well as a Sharakusai, Baron de Fleur, Dangerous Gabu, Infinite Impermanence, and then a couple of Bestials if you're lucky, depending on what your draws were like off your field spell. So very nice indeed. For the rest of the synchros, I played one Cyframe Lord Omega, one Virtual Kyubi Shenshen, one Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. That was it for like my level 8s and 9s. Draco Berserker is nice. Again, it just batters Ishizu Telements. Cyframe Lord Omega, just another generic 8, and it's a strong one, can hand rip a card. Yeah, can do a whole load of things, so definitely nice to see. Then for the 10s, we ran obviously Sword Shen Ying, just say no more. Baron de Fleur, just for the pop and the hard negation. You can actually use this to tag out, which is, it does seldom come up to be honest, but typically if you're making this is like your most optimal end board, like Baron, P.U.N.K Jam Dragon Drive, etc. Like I mentioned previously. And then this card's like a game, and pop a spell or trap, it's just, yeah, it's over. And then the MVP, Psychic End Punisher. A couple of times, like going second, I just blow through a load of my hand, try to play through negates, and then you're paying loads of life points. Then I put this on board, go into a battle phase, activate its effect to gain life points, gain attack points, and then just pass turn. Because it's unaffected by activated effects if your life points are lower than your opponent's, which typically you are going to be. And then when it rolls around to their battle phase, which was typically the only way they're going to be able to out it, it gains life points again, attack points again. So it gets really big really quickly. It's a bit of a backup plan, a little bit of contingency, but it's also a nice game, and that you can actually get away with this. And I took access code out because I found like I was ending on a load of like big hefty synchro monsters, and I didn't need access code talker just to be able to pop the board in that. I could clear the board in other ways. So Psychic End Punisher is very nice indeed. And then finally we ran the Dark Charmer Gloomy. It does come up from time to time. We also ran the Nightmare Unicorn, which I didn't make a whole lot. I'm probably going to take this out for an Asa. Couldn't find my Asa at the time, so I just threw this one in, but I didn't actually make it. Dingyusu does come up sometimes, especially stuff that can't be targeted or destroyed. It's just a nice send. And then obviously Zeus is there for the same reason. If you can make Dingyusu, you can make Zeus. So yeah, or if you just take an opponent's monster with triple tactics talent, attack with it, go into Zeus and just clear the field. So yeah, that is it for the extra deck, ladies and gents. Very quickly, I will show you the side deck. This is obviously the third talents. We also had the Dark Ruler No More's side deck Say No More, as well as the Lightning Storms. Obviously, one of them was in the main. I did have one Nibiru. I don't know why I decided to just put the one Nibiru in. I took the other two out, and I thought, you know what, I'll leave one in just in case I come against a rogue matchup, because there was a couple of people there that were like playing Scareclaw and that kind of thing, and I thought, you know what, this could be useful. And because you draw so much on your turn, if my field was to get cleared, I could just nib them at the end of main phase. So definitely a interesting card. But yeah, it didn't come up, to be honest. Evenly matched, again, just a staple. I didn't actually see it, to be honest, but evenly matched is evenly matched. I did actually put in the Ash as well, just for some rogue matchups, because believe it or not, Ash does cripple any kind of like rogue strategy. It's really difficult to play through in simplified game state, as well as if you establish your board and then you just have Ash. It's just a nice little way to finish off. And then finally, the card that was used from Photon Hypernova, Bestial Bull Drake. This card's stupid, I'm not even gonna lie. The fact that it's a common as well, I actually resolved its effect. I didn't actually tribute Druce Worm, which was a shame, but I did resolve its effect, and it just crippled my opponent. Like, it wasn't even funny. Definitely a very strong inclusion, and even if Bestials aren't typically going to be taking over the meta, depending on how the next meta forms, Drake is probably one of the strongest ones, just to be able to negate, well, say negate, banish a special summon monster from the extra deck, fusion, synchro, link, etc. Is just too strong to pass up, to be honest. And you do typically end on a couple of Bestials, especially if you've got Magnum on field and you search this to the end phase. It's nice. You can even banish your own Foxy Tune or Ogre Dance just to put it on the field if your opponent's not playing any kind of like light or dark monsters. So very strong card, and I do urge you to pick a few up if you get the chance. And that is it, ladies and gents. I managed to top locals finally. It's been such a long time. Definitely going to be playing this deck a little bit more. Like I said, I always tend to play a little bit of rogue, and I don't stay on the deck too long, but I know I've played Punk previously on the channel, and I've always said that I enjoy the way that the deck plays, just drawing through your engine and paying life points and having to manage so many things that are going on. So probably see this again, but Plunder Patrol Ship Yord definitely got me in the lab and testing, so I'm actually gonna come out with a list for that in the near future, so definitely stay tuned. But anyway, we find ourselves at the end of another video. As always, if you do like this content, you know what to do by now. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, all of that beautiful good stuff, and I will definitely see you guys on the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.